live from Huntertown, Indiana. It's Soarin Hawk on the air. And so today we're going to talk about a little bit different topic. We do have a few of our bird friends here and our bird handler friends here too. So today we're going to talk about what is the value of birds. So what do we do here at Soarin Hawk? Well, we rescue birds that are injured, need help. We repair them, okay? And then we rehabilitate them to get them back out to the wild. We release them. And the other thing that we do is we try to educate people about the birds. So we'll take the story of Skylar, golden eagle, on a nice foggy morning on a curvy road. He was down feeding on a little bit of carrion and got struck by a car. So out we went, picked him up. Whoop. Well, don't want to show the next picture. It's stuck. Slide. Okay. And so what do? We took him right to our veterinarian, x-rayed him, checked to see what was going on. He had a little bit of damage to one of the bones in his one wing. And so after we got that repaired, we went out and we rehabilitated him. This is creance flying, so we flew him, exercised that wing. And then finally, the great day came when we were able to release him. And we took him out to the field, and we took him out there, released him, and off he flew into the wild blue yonder. Now this guy here, and this is just a conjecture, comes by every year. This is over by Leo, and every year there's a golden eagle that shows up in Leo in the fall, and then sometimes in the spring, but every fall there's a golden eagle that comes through. So he's always looking for that free handout that we gave him for almost a year. And then, of course, the other big thing that we do is we go around, we educate kids, adults too, and, to learn about the birds, So the thing is, we try to let people know what exactly is the value of birds. So, that's why I said here, okay. So, why do we do what we do? What value are the birds? And why are the birds important, the raptors important? Well, first off, we'll look at what do I have here? Ecological value. Okay, so we know that they're the top. They're, according to the balance of nature, they're the top of the food chain. They help to maintain the populations of rodents and a wide variety of prey. So there's insects they control, fish, reptiles, rodents, birds. And they also control carrion, okay? So some of our fine friends, is he still here? Our vulture fly-away?
He flew away.
Oh, our
He's
vulture
up
just
there
flew
soaring,
away. Okay.
soaring up
He just
there.
missed that release, folks.
Yeah.
He just took a look around, said there was nothing dead here, so he took off and is flown away. So they're top of the food chain, and they help maintain a level, a balance of nature, so that no one particular species becomes overwhelming, overpopulated, But also, they help to improve the gene pool. All the predators that are out there, it doesn't matter whether it's our raptors, or it's things like wolves, or coyotes, and things like that. They go after the lame, the infirm, the ones that just can't take care of themselves, the weak, they weed out the weak. So only the strongest and the best are going to survive. So they help to maintain the gene pool. So they're very valuable to ecologically. Do they have an economic value? Oh yes, they do. Okay. So again, they're top of the food chain, and they remove. Let me see. I'm going to go this way. How about that? Okay. I can't remember what I wrote. Okay. So we remove the prey that is destructive to agriculture, and that's one of the big things they do economically for us. They also remove prey that may spread diseases. There's a lot of diseases that may be spread by mice, rats, and other rodents. So we'll first start off with the value to farmers. So you have two mice, Minnie and Mickey, or maybe it's Mickey and Minnie, can't tell, okay, from the picture. So in 1 year, they can produce 54 offspring. Well, that's kind of impressive. That's a lot of kids to take care of. Well, the kids take care of themselves. And so how they do that? Well, they go out there and they feed on grains, or go out there in the fields and feed on things. So, for instance, our little mice here will destroy about a third of an ounce, or I'm sorry, 3 ounces of corn in a day. Okay. Basically, what a mouse does is it goes and it eats the best part of the corn out, so the center of the corn. So they eat 1/3 of the kernel of corn, and then they disperse the other 2/3. So that means that if you have 3 ounces a day and you have 54 offspring, that means they'll destroy 66 bushels of corn a year. At the current price of $4 a bushel, that means that the farmer's going to lose about $264. So that's a lot of corn. Not only do they destroy the corn, makes it unusable, they can't sell it, they also run back and forth through there. And I think, as you remember from previous episodes of this fine program, that rodents leave a trail of urine behind them so they can find their way back. So they urinate in the corn, and they defecate in the corn, and makes it almost unsellable. In fact, I don't know about you, but I don't like salty cornflakes. So anyways, the farmer can't sell that corn. So anyways, by getting rid of the mice, going to save the farmer a lot of money. In some counties, rodent destruction of crops is so high it runs into tens of millions of dollars a year. So I think Monterey County in California, they have huge problems with rats and mice. And they estimate that they lose about $110 to $120 million a year in crop destruction. So, but fortunately, we have our little friends that come to the rescue. Our little friends come to the rescue.
Here comes the little friend.
There he is. So my little friend here, look, see the sign here? See what it says? Okay. So we know that kestrels will come in here, and they're going to come in there, and they're going to help save the day. So we got Dad, Mom, and they produce maybe 3-4 offspring. Now this little family of 5 will eat about 1,800 mice in a year. You guys are real pigs, aren't you? Yeah, but they eat all those, and that's going to save a farmer about 2,200 bushels of corn. Okay, which amounts to about $8,800 a year. Okay, so this means that economically, these birds are very valuable to us, aren't you? Huh? What you doing? You're looking around. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. Yeah. Okay. Some of us are not meant for television. Yeah. So
there we go.
Okay. So very important. But we got some other rodents out there that are very destructive. We have things like rats. Now, they estimate that a rat can cause about $28 of damage a day to crops. And but fortunately, we'll replace you now.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay. So fortunately, we had Nicole and Athena. How you doing, Athena? She says, I don't know. See? You're supposed to get the rat here at the bottom. Okay. See the rats up here? You're supposed to eat those. Okay. So, yeah, you agree. So here we are. One of these great horned owl and its family can dispatch about 500 rats in a season. So that's 500 times $28 times 5. That's a lot of money that you're going to save. So these guys are economically very valuable to us, particularly to the farmers. And smart farmers, particularly like our Amish friends, they do things to help the owls and stuff out. They let them nest in their barns. They let the kestrels nest there because they know they're out there feeding in those areas. They leave those old dead trees up. They don't cut everything down. And so it gives a place for the owls to nest or to roost or to hunt from. So. And so these raptors, how valuable are they to us? Okay. Well, to us, there's 2 things that they do. First off, they take care of nuisance problems for us. We already talked about them taking care of the rats and the mice in the fields and out there. But a lot of rats and mice show up around civilization, if you want to call us that. Okay. And so they go and they create, we know that rats and mice create holes in homes and buildings. They're very destructive. They go in there, to get access to the buildings where it's nice and warm and cozy, where they can have their nest. So they're destructive on going in. They go and they tear up the insulation and stuff like that. One of the things that rodents just really love, and we don't exactly know why, they like to chew on wires, electrical wires. So they chew the insulation off the wires, and if they short out, if you're fortunate, the circuit breaker will blow. If you're not fortunate, they'll arc over and cause a fire. And so that means they can be very destructive to us. So we want these guys out there getting those wire chewers and destroying them, And then the other thing is, some of those pests out there, the mice, the rats, pigeons, starlings, house sparrows, they go out there and they leave all kinds of deposits of urine and feces, So, if you ever look at your favorite statue and you see it all covered, it doesn't look very pretty. But so you have a lot of things like that. So we have things like these birds, okay, taking care of some of the rodents. But we have like our peregrines downtown taking out pigeons, if not taking them out, at least moving them out, okay? So it's always, so they're out there doing a valuable thing to us. So they're valuable to us. So they're taking care of us and taking care of our physical properties and things that make things. But another thing is that they also will control diseases. There's a lot of diseases that are promoted or carried by rodents. And some of these, I'll probably need some help from the audience here to, how do I pronounce some of these things. Like we have hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. You know what that is?
I'm sorry.
Hantavirus?
Hantavirus.
Oh, yeah.
Hantavirus.
Virus,
Yeah, that's bad stuff, huh?
That is bad stuff.
That's bad stuff. Okay, we got hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. Oh, that's a pain in the back. Oh, man, that hurts. Okay, we got leptospirosis. We got lymphocytic chiromeningitis, LCM.
Oh.
Bad. Bad. Okay. Omsk hemorrhagic fever. That's usually spread by rats, Norway rats. Oh, let's see. Oh, there's plague. Okay, that's good. That's spread by fleas. Okay, that ride on the back of those cute little ground squirrels. Okay, we got rat bite fever. Okay. Ugh. So, and then there's salmonellus, and that's spread by droppings and stuff that gets on food, produce, and stuff like that. And so, always wash off your vegetables and your fruit and stuff. So if you get fruit and it comes in and it's all peeled, take some doubt. Okay, be careful. So you can pretty well feel safe if you have to peel it, to get to it. So anyways, they're great value to us, and so they're taking really darn good care of us by taking out those disease spreaders. Well, birds have scientific value, okay? So they indicate the degradation of our environment, okay? So they can tell us about the health of the environment. Are things getting better or are they getting worse, So you go to an area, if you see raptors around, that means there's food there for them to feed on. That means that the forest or the prairie or whatever is doing well, the salt marsh. But if you don't see raptors around, that means there's no food to eat. If there's, prey, there's no prey to eat, and that means there's nothing for the prey to eat, or the prey has died, either, by indiscriminate poisonings and things like that, or other indiscriminate things that have been done to the area. So it's a good indication of the health of the environment. And also, by watching the raptors, we have a better understanding of the ecological system. How's everything working together? How's that food chain working? How do the different animals interact? So we hear stories about the increase in the snowy owl population up in the Arctic because you got an increase in the lemmings. But then when the lemmings population crashes, then what happens? The snowy owls have to do something, and they head south, and we enjoy them for a winter or two. Okay, and then the cycle goes on and on and on. But sometimes we get in there and we do things that disturbs the whole process. We may go in and, I don't know, for some reason we divert a river, or we dam up a lake or something, or a stream. So we change the environment. The environment changes. That changes the prey base. Prey base changes the raptor population, and sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's bad, and a lot of times it's bad because nature made things the way they are, and it's been working for a long, long time. And then, well, we smart people, we come along and we make things better, and usually what we end up doing is messing it all up, and we, there's a couple countries in the world that have done such fantastic jobs. It's just amazing that they've even survived, and so sometimes we just have to watch out what we're doing that's making things better or making things worse. Hey there, how's Monet doing?
He's doing fine.
He's doing fine, okay.
He's pretty, so.
So anyways, we'll have Monet come up because I think Monet fits in the next one a little bit.
It's showtime.
It's showtime, Monet. There's Monet and his mom. So the next value about birds and raptors is recreational value. So we have one of the big things is things like bird watching. Okay, it's healthy. People are getting out there. They're going around and they're doing things. They're getting lots of exercise and stuff like that. They're out. They're looking out the windows. They're taking care of the yards. They're doing all kinds of things. In fact, thanks to COVID, we have now more bird watchers in the United States than we ever had before because everybody's sitting home looking out the windows because they're tired of all those Hallmark Christmas movies. So, but anyways, they estimate over $100 million a year is spent by bird watchers just in the United States alone. And and that covers a lot of stuff. That covers equipment, books, travel. If you travel someplace, you have to have a place to stay. You have to pay for fees to get into parks and stuff. So it's a great thing. So here's a bunch of bird watchers intently watching a bird somewhere in Indonesia. Okay, so I can tell you where that place is. Yeah. And,
is that you?
No, I'm
okay.
no, that's Ann.
Okay.
That's Ann there. No, I'm over here
Okay,
because I couldn't get into the scrum. There is a poor little bird sitting up right up there and trying to, and I don't know if you could get a bigger camera in there, but anyways, in fact, I was just talking to Louis. Louis says Lana has her eye on some new lenses for her Canon. So, and they do look like cannons. So for recreational value, they add a lot to us, okay? So and then also kind of recreationally is falconry. And this is a thing I missed out on this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Mongolia to see this.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do this year, and it's kind of like, well, okay, that won't happen for a couple of years. But falconry, there's a lot of falconers out there. There's people that take things bird watching one step further. They get a bird like a Harris hawk, even a kestrel, or a red tail, or even some people fly great horned owls. A number of different species. I like these guys, these golden eagles, with and but the falconers go out there. Some of it's for hunting, some of it's just for leisure, and again, another one of these things. So over a $10 billion industry in the United States. So there's a lot of people out there, and again, it's like any other kind of hunting group or whatever. They except that they don't use guns, they use birds. They're out there in the fresh air. And they go after their prey, usually bunnies, sometimes squirrels, and sometimes ducks. So anyway, so there's another economic thing for us, or recreational thing, whichever way you want to look at it. But one of the things I think gets most of us involved is the spiritual value of birds. We know that the birds have a big value to us. It's imbued into our culture. Our national emblem is a bald eagle. We have our Native Americans, hawks, eagles are their big thing. Their totems, if you will. And so there's a spiritual value to these birds. I know I feel a real connection with them. I go out there, and somewhere I know that there's a little bit a glimmer of something spiritual out there. You watch them, they watch you, and you kind of feel a real connection. And finally, there's the aesthetic value. We just enjoy watching the birds and what they do. So here's a pair of red-tailed hawks in courtship, and these guys are doing a thing called taloning, and so they grab talons and they swing back and forth through the air. So if you're fortunate enough to see this, usually in February, if you're outdoors and you listen for that whistle from a red-tailed hawk, oh, I'm sorry.
What did he say to you? Huh?
Yeah, when you hear that, look up, And, one day when I was suffering from the flu and looking out the window in February, at least that's what I told the boss I was doing. So anyways, there it was. I heard the whistle and I looked out there and here were two hawks just swinging back and forth. Sometimes it is even this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of like just watching the kestrels, dad handing a mouse to mom, things like that. So there's a thing of, sometimes just watching them fly through the air. Sometimes they just, it just makes you feel just really good to watch them and to see what they're doing and just be jealous. They can fly. I can't fly. I wish I could, and you just wish you were up there, but just watching them arcing around, up and down, and sometimes you know that they're not hunting. They're just out there having a great time, catch that wind and fly up and fly down. I think when we had that kestrel release earlier in the summer, or late summer, we watched them flying here along the tree line, up, down, just having a great time, getting out there and just enjoying the wind and that thing. So there's a great aesthetic value. So these birds are all working for us. They're taking care of us in a number of different ways. They're taking care of nature. There's a balance of nature, and just to think, that when we humans go ahead and polish ourselves off, there'll be all these raptors out there, okay? And they'll still be around, and we'll be long gone. So, well, how can you help? All right, how can you help the raptors, help them do their jobs? Well, first off, you can join or support conservation groups. You can go with like Acres or Little River or Audubon. You can join us, okay? You can come and you can work with the birds, and so you can have all those aesthetic feelings, okay, those spiritual feelings, because all our people in here, our handlers, they're communing now with these birds, and the birds I think are communing with them, okay. So the birds are mellowed out. They're just sitting there, just kind of enjoying things. So you can join us, and there's a number of different kinds of things you can do to support the birds. But it's a great feeling. The farmers, okay, they can do things like they can put up perches, or you can too, So you can put up a perch, 20-foot perch up. Keep the old dead trees up there because dead trees make good perches for birds. So if the tree is not going to do any harm, leave it sit up there. Let the birds hunt from there. There's a tree down there on the corner of Tonkel and Slaughter Road that, during the daytime, there's a red-tailed hawk that sits up in that tree. And at night, if you're lucky enough, you'll see a great horned owl sitting in that same tree. So they hunt the same fields from the same thing. So it's, so leave the trees up. You can get nest boxes. We can supply you with nest box plans. Or you can write to us and ask for a nest box, and I'm sure we have some wood butchers that'll put something together for you real quickly. So I think that was episode 5, was it?
I think so. Yes.
Episode 5 when we built and you saw how easy it was to do.
Yeah.
We had a bird box built in less than half an hour, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
And nobody lost any fingers or anything.
Little sawdust here and there. That was it.
Yeah, so we did a good job on that. So it's something that you can do. It's something that you might want to do with the kids. It's a really good project. So so you can go online if you want and just ask for kestrel box plans or screech owl box plans. To get you started. You can also make boxes for barred owls. They're a little bit bigger. So you can do something like that. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. So, and then let's see. So, one of the things you want to do, keep your cats indoors, please. All right. Indoor cats live about 5 to 6 times longer than outdoor cats. Even though we do have a couple cats that do come around here about 2 o'clock in the morning and send off the alarm Yeah. So but they don't do any harm to our birds here because they're out there getting the things that get attracted. So, anyways, but keep your cat because basically cats kill millions of birds and small animals every year, and when we get a bird in that's been caught by a cat, typically we have a hard time saving it because not necessarily from the physical damage, but by the fact that it's been injected with all kinds of bacteria and viruses that we can't cure. And typically it's just too late. You can only save about 1 in 10 that have suffered a cat attack. So keep your cats indoors because otherwise you let your cat outdoors at night. I know we have coyotes out here and foxes out here. Okay. There's also these big metal things on wheels that run over. I know right there along Coldwater Road there, every day I go out, there's another new dead cat laying by the side of the road. So you don't want anything like that to happen. So keep your cats indoors, okay? They'll be safer. You'll reduce your bill for the veterinarian, okay? So that kind of thing. Let's see. So what else? Take care with rodenticides. A lot of rodenticides are designed to they poison the animal by breaking down the blood system in the animal, and it basically leads to death. Well, if a raptor gets a hold of that carcass, it's going to eat that rodenticide too, and then it will bleed to death. So don't use rodenticides. If you want to, use snap traps or live traps. I go around some of the grain elevators and stuff, and they all use traps, snap traps, because that's the only good way to take care of it. And let's see, take care of the natural habitat. Take care of the habitat around your house. You don't have to have a lawn that's 1/4 inch high, okay, and flattened out. Put some bushes out there. Let the grass grow a little bit. 1 inch is good. 1.5 inches is nice. So have a place there, a lawn that you don't have to put poison on the lawn. I know everybody wants these perfect lawns, but leave a lawn out there that worms can live in. All right, a lawn out there that animals, including your children, can walk across without dying.
Yeah.
All right, so so take care of it. Put some bushes and some shrubbery. Let your and if you have a backyard like mine and nobody can see it from the road, just let it go wild. Okay, once a year, mow it down. But that's all that's necessary. It'll give us a place. Let's see, around the farm. I know a lot of farmers have gotten into the thing where they're trying to farm every square inch that they have, plus a little more. And but the old farmers, the old guys back when, they used to put up allow things like hedgerows, because the hedgerows would protect the land, okay, from wind and so for one thing, but it would also bring a place for predators. And when we talk about predators, we're not just talking about hawks and owls. We're also talking about those sparrows and things like that go out there and get those bugs and nematodes and things like that. So old farmers used to leave those hedgerows up. Now people are taking those out. Same way with windbreaks. A lot of guys have taken down the windbreaks. The windbreaks protect those fields. Leave those up. It protects the fields, the crops, that kind of thing. It protects your house. By breaking up the wind. Okay. And let's see, and the neighborhood. Make sure that your neighbors are kind of nice and neat and clean, but encourage them to put up some trees and stuff or some bushes. Also, put up some bird feeders. Take care of some of the. Just because birds eat seed doesn't mean they don't like high protein stuff. If a bird sees a nice bug, it's going to go and eat it. If it sees a nice caterpillar, it's going to go eat it. So they go for the high protein stuff. It's kind of like are you going to eat the French fries or are you going to eat the steak? You're going to go for the steak, okay? But you don't get steak very often, so you do eat a lot of potatoes. But but the thing is that those birds will come there and they'll eat those things. So around the neighborhood, encourage your neighbors. Put up trees, bushes, bird feeders, that kind of thing, and it'll be great for them. And again, it goes back to that aesthetic value, that spiritual value, that whole thing, what you'll get out of it. And that's, it's amazing. I watch people, first off, they have some sparrows, and they have a couple finches, and then they have, I saw a robin out, and then cardinals. Cardinals, they come late at night, just before it's almost dark. you know, and so people learn more and more about the birds, and pretty soon they're saying, where do I buy a bird book? You know, do I need binoculars? You know, and then it just goes on and on.
On
you
and
know?
on.
Yeah, on and on, you know. And like I said, it gets to be a lot better than watching all the Hallmark Christmas movies, which are starting up again. Oh gosh. So anyways, that's my pitch for today. You know, what are the values of birds? There's main values to the birds, but they all support us, and we're part, you know, whether you like it or not, we're part of nature, okay? And if we don't take care of nature and the world, it's going to doom us, okay? So, let's see. I got to do advertising now, huh?
Yes.
The commercial break. Well, okay. So, let's see. What do we have going today? Let's see. Upcoming public events, you know, where you can come out and join us if you're in the neighborhood. Let's see. This coming Thursday, that's tomorrow, we're going to be up at Chain of Lakes and at the campsite. And we're going to be putting on a program. And, Monet, you going to be there? Monet's probably going to be there. How about you?
He's falling asleep.
And Athena, you going to be there? Well, anyways, it's going to be owls because it's Halloween. So we're going to be up there at Chain of Lakes starting at 5:30 at the campsite. So you want to get up there nice and early because it's going to be a long line at the check-in area. So you want to get up there early. Let's see. So, and then Friday night, we're going to have Halloween in the park. That's going to be right here in Huntertown, it's going to be south of downtown Huntertown. Okay. So anyways, at the Huntertown Family Park, and there's going to be 15 or 16 stations that you go to. There's going to be all kinds of different events. And so some of our people and some of our owls are going to be there at one of those. And then we're going to repeat it on Saturday just in case you didn't make it Friday. So Halloween night will be there. And again, it starts at 5:30, so there will be lights, so nobody will be scared or spooked or anything. You know, I know Nicole was looking very nervous about being out there in the dark, but she said, not now. Okay. And then, let's see, then Saturday afternoon out at Pierceton, we're going to be there for the Tippecanoe Audubon dinner. And it starts at 4 o'clock out there. So we'll be out there with some of the owls. And I understand they're having a chili dinner or for you, I guess that's chili with beef in it. And I guess for the vegetarian, they're going to have some kind of vegetarian soup. Okay, they called it vegan soup. I used to call that vegetable soup, but anyways, vegan soup. Okay, they're going to have vegan soup. Okay, and so some of our owls will be out there. And the Audubon Society will be having its annual meeting, so you'll get to see a bunch of us. And then let's see, what else? And I guess the next thing we have coming up is on Memorial Day, or not Memorial Day, Armistice Day in November. We'll have a homeschool program out there at the Huntertown Family Park, and we'll be out there, rain, shine, whatever, and we'll be out there at 10 o'clock in the morning. So those are some of the public events that we have coming up. And drawing to the end. But if your community group or organization, whatever, wants to have a program, let us know. You can get on our website, make a request. We're already getting a number of requests in for next year. People think there's going to be a next year.
Ooh.
There's some optimists out there. There's some optimists out there.
Oh boy.
So we're going to be. So we're already signed up for a bunch of people to come out, and we'll do some programs and some very interesting requests. And so we're going to be doing some programs a little differently than we did this year. So as people have special interest, we're going to be altering the programs that we bring. So in the meantime, don't forget. Let's see, Kroger's. I think somewhere here. Where is that check? Oh, look at it. There's my check from Kroger's. Okay,
whoa,
$450.
yay.
Okay,
Nice.
From Kroger's, and it's all thanks to people that sign on to the Community Rewards Program. So if you if you have a Kroger card, and I think this works out with let's see, Piggly Wiggly and Ralph's and a couple other outfits that are connected to Kroger's, you can sign up. Okay. And put down Soarin Hawk as who receives the benefit. Okay, so so think of us. And it doesn't cost you.
Did your bird?
Yeah, I have a bird. Yeah, she helps.
Everybody needs an assistant.
Yeah, that's my little gray falcon. She chews on that. So that's Ginger or Gigi. Gigi. Jerry. It's Jerry.
Jerry.
Jerry. Yeah. So she's a cockatiel, and yeah. So she's So she has one of these things. She get anything that's like paper, anything that's important. If it's not important, she doesn't care, but it's important. So, anyways, Kroger's, and it's getting to be Christmas time. I know a lot of you guys are going to be, getting online and buying stuff. Sign up for Amazon Smiles. We only get 0.5% of what you purchase, but still, I know some of you guys are really heavy hitters. So, so it would help us out. So sign up for Amazon Smiles and put down Soarin Hawk as your beneficiary. Let's see what else we got. You go to our website and you go donate. Okay, don't forget employer and employee matching funds. And so go to your HR department if you don't know if your company has one, and sign up for it. Sometimes they match hours. Sometimes they match donations. In other words, you put in 50, they put in 50. Or like in some cases, if you put in 50 hours, they'll match with your pay for 50 hours. So it's pretty beneficial to us.
That's nice.
Walmart's been very good to us about this. And I guess Lincoln Life and PNC and a couple others have been very good to us. So check with your. So that one's upside down. Let's see, where else do we get money from? That's it. Okay, so or you can go get hold of some of those old musty $20 and $50 bills. We'll clean them up and iron them and straighten them flat, and and all benefits to birds. Nothing goes to all of us low pay individuals here. So So anybody got any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
No.
Dang, I did another good job. So no questions.
No questions.
Okay. I'm not going to stay much longer because I got to go back to school.
Yep.
So today's the last session. Okay. Of this bunch. Okay. This is the CRC training, and a bunch of us are going through the CRC training on how to take care of birds and that kind of thing. Some of it's refresher, some of it is new information, and some of it is why didn't I think of that? And so it's but the thing is, the birds benefit, the people benefit, you benefit. Okay, from what we learn, and you benefit from taking care of these birds. So nobody has any questions.
No questions.
No comments.
No.
No. Do I get to say goodbye before I say a bad word? These birds are real good. These birds are real good today.
Yes.
Yeah, the floor's still clean. No, it isn't.
No, it's not. No.
Oh, geez.
No.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so goodbye from Huntertown, Indiana. Goodbye from Soarin Hawk, and we'll see you next week. And if anybody has a great idea of what they would like to hear me talk about, you can contact us at Soarin Hawk and just leave a message for us, and we'll look at it and we'll see if we can do something with it. But we're more than happy to accommodate everybody. But there's always new stuff. Every time I turn around, there's something new to learn about the birds. But so I'm going to say goodbye.
Okay.
I'm going to sign off.
Yep. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you next week.